Hey sports fans, Coach Nick here, and welcome to BBallBreakdown. A very entertaining game in Portland went down to the wire, and we've got a series as the Trailblazers cut the Clippers' lead to 2-1. Lots of things happening here, so let's dive right into the footage. Mason Plumlee got 9 assists in this game, and let's take a peek at what the Blazers were doing to make him such a good facilitator. Here is pinch post action to the right side with Lillard and Plumlee. You can see how the Clippers want to be aggressive with McCollum off the dribble pitch to get it out of his hands. Portland has to do something quick as the clock is running down, and again, the Clippers are being even more aggressive with Lillard to double him off the pick and roll, allowing a short roll for Plumlee. DeAndre has to rotate into the lane, leaving Aminu wide open for the three. Again, watch how the Clippers want to pinch Lillard off the pick and roll. Problem is, it's not aggressive enough by Jordan, allowing an easy pass back to Plumlee. Blake is supposed to step up to pressure him with Green sinking and filling. None of this happens, and Plumlee gets an easy view of the lob to Harkless, cutting to the hoop. On this pick and roll, they don't double Lillard, perhaps because it's too early in the clock, or perhaps Jeff Green didn't get the memo. On the handoff, Plumlee gets away with the hip check, leaving Jordan alone on Lillard. Jeff Green rotated over, but is stuck in no man's land guarding no one, again allowing too much time for Plumlee to find Harkless streaking to the rim. Plumlee also showed a willingness to dribble the ball up the court himself, allowing Lillard to be even more dangerous attacking off the ball with his quickness and using him as a screen. By grabbing the board and bringing it up himself, you can see how Lillard and McCollum can spot up on the wing quickly, putting more pressure on the defense immediately. Another quick cut and handoff gets Jordan onto Lillard, and even though CP3 gets over to help, it's a wide open 15-footer. Plumlee being a dribble drive artist is probably unsustainable, as this foray towards the lane shows us, but somehow it works for them, as CP3 gets out of position going for the steal, and Lillard uncorks the one-footed runner from the free throw line. Now, let's look at some of Lillard's buckets to see how he got going so early. In the first minute of the game, he lets us know it'll be special with the quick drag screen attack of Blake, and his patented stutter step one dribble pull-up for 3. Later in the first, he uncorks this beauty of a fast break attempt. With DeAndre coming over to challenge, he fakes to the right side of the rim, then drifts for the reverse the fundamental way with his right hand over his head, and he just barely gets this off before landing. Blake was having trouble being the screener's defender on Lillard, and he's too quick for DeAndre to get over there and block this gorgeous finish. The Blazers' pet play is this pass to McCollum back to a handoff to Dame. Harkless and McCollum now orbit each other with screens before flowing into pick and roll. When Lillard has shown he's already cooking, Jordan simply cannot be this low. CJ McCollum, fresh off of winning the Most Improved Player award, also got going in the second quarter with 12 points on 5 for 8 shooting. Watch how intent the Clippers are to get the ball out of his hands on 2 consecutive ball screens. On the reversal, they catch the Clippers out of position, and when Jeff Green tries to jump late, CJ just splits them, takes the bump, and tosses in the hook. And here, he picks up the loose ball and finds some freedom of movement on the break. Jeff Green needs to turn and run on this. No way he can slide and keep up with CJ's quickness. If Jeff Green can't keep up with him, then Paul Pierce certainly can't, and he just finds a spot on the right baseline to pull up for an open 10-footer. Blake Griffin continues to show poor footwork in the post. His right foot should land near the block on this spin. Instead, it stays in place. He gets cut off, then tries to shoot a fall-away jump hook while facing the baseline at the other end. This lets Plumlee bring it up again, and watch the mistake the Clippers make in transition defense. Redick could have easily picked up CJ, and Mbah-a-Moute could have gotten Harkless. Inexplicably, they don't make this happen, and even though this looks great for the Clippers in the beginning, great denial and ball deflection, when the Blazers get it under control, you still have Mbah-a-Moute and McCollum. He does a poor job allowing CJ to get into the middle off the screen. Jordan then does a silly reach-in, and CJ knocks it down. So apparently Doc wants Redick on Harkless and Mbah-a-Moute on McCollum. My bad. On this simple pin down, the Blazers have a lot of options. Blake has to contest, meaning Aminu gets a free pass at the offensive rebound. When Blake just stands there, CJ gets the ball right back, and if you give him 2 shots in a row, he's probably hitting the second. More of the orbiting cutters by the Blazers as Lillard gets a back screen as McCollum gets the pin down. Jeff Green doesn't have it in him to defend a 2-guard off a pin down like this. One note on this interesting lineup Coach Stotts used. In the regular season, he played this lineup all of 4 games for a total of 11 minutes. However, I think it's viable for them. They're simultaneously big and small and creates matchup problems all over for Doc. Chris Paul had a monster game as well with 26 points and 9 assists. That said, over the last 3 seasons, the Clippers are 5-6 when Paul takes as many as 21 shots. On this play, Lillard can't get this lost getting back on defense. He doesn't know where CP3 is until it's too late, and still doesn't hustle over there, leaving Kaman to point and CP3 to splash. While Redick is ailing and shot poorly, he still has a real gravity on his pin downs. Watch how McCollum jumps off CP3 one pass away, a big mistake as it gives Paul a huge opening. Plumlee does not step up like he should, and Paul gets the off-foot finger roll. Stotts also put Harkless on CP3 for many possessions, and my first instinct was to shake my head, and on this simple handoff, Harkless takes a bad path and allows CP3 a wide open shot. However, I then started to realize the genius in matching up like this. Stotts knows they love to screen CP3 with Blake Griffin, and it allows them to switch this without losing too much. That said, Aminu can't be digging down this long with his back to CP3. An easy kickout gets him the 3. More Harkless on CP3, which takes away any CP3 post-ups. And I really like how Ed Davis steps up to take away the drive. But Harkless has to be better with his footwork to change directions quicker, giving Paul another open look from 18 feet. Here's a good example of the switch working in Portland's favor. Instead of having Lillard get stuck on Blake down low, Harkless has enough strength to fight him down there, and Blake does another poor post move where he's jumping too early with his back almost to the basket, and he almost begins his jump off 2 feet, but then strangely kicks up his right foot, dissipating much of his power. And I've talked about Blake's shooting mechanics before. He shoots on the way down, and I know he's been able to figure out how to make these shots in the regular season. Under the glare of the pressure of the playoffs, especially with an ailing quad, I can't see him hitting these with any type of regularity. Let's move to the end of the game where we see another aggressive hedge to get the ball out of Lillard's hands. Not sure why Redick wants to pressure McCollum out by half court here. However, he forces a tough shot, but CJ is just a bad man. Next, watch how Harkless is on the wrong side of this CP3 ball screen for Crawford. It's a bad matchup for the Blazers with Lillard on him, and they quickly collapse the defense. A mistake to have both Aminu and Plumlee rotate, getting a wide open corner 3 for Griffin, but again, he shoots on the way down, and his bad shooting night continued. The Clippers get caught way out of position and allow CJ into the middle of the lane. Plumlee with the ill-advised floater, but on the fight for the ball, Tony Brothers is right there, yet doesn't blow his whistle and makes no call. The lead official on the baseline has to make it, even though he doesn't have a good view. The refs can't review it with more than 2 minutes left in the game, even though it appeared to hit off Crawford last, leaving Coach Stotts in a bit of a tizzy. The danger of having DeAndre Jordan out there with more than 2 minutes left is that they'll simply put him on the line where he went 3 for 10. While this is a well-executed lob, it gets negated with a simple foul, and he promptly misses both. To avoid the trap of Lillard, the Blazers do not send a ball screen up, allowing Dame to isolate on CP3. While this was great defense, it was even better offense with the creative one-footed running floater. With the 1-point lead, the Blazers don't want to hack at DeAndre if they don't have to, and the Clippers even force a switch of Lillard onto CP3. They get a great shot but can't hit. I like DeAndre being aggressive to the boards, but it potentially hurts them when he's just going to get sent to the line again, and he again misses both. This time the Blazers do set the pick and roll quickly for Lillard, the Clippers desperate to get it out of his hands. The Blazers are ready and form a 3-on-2 as Plumlee attacks the paint. With Aminu in the lane, it forces Crawford to rotate to him, and Plumlee finds that same pass to Harkless along the baseline as he did earlier in the game. Gorgeous spin move by Harkless as Blake just watches instead of contesting. With a 3-point deficit and 2 minutes left, you don't need to get a 3, but this is a great look as Redick ball screens, then comes right back around the pin down, catching Harkless out of position, but Redick can't knock it down. The Clippers get it back, Doc calls a play, and let's see what they wanted. First, Crawford was confused, didn't know he was supposed to screen first to get Damian switching onto Chris Paul. They get that sorted out though. On the attack, they're looking to get CP3 going to the lane while Jordan pins down for a Redick 3 on the weak side. This almost works as Blake sucks in the defense, but he fumbles the pass, allowing CJ to streak in and take off down court. Chris Paul gets handsy on the foul and is lucky he wasn't called for a flagrant foul. You can see on the replay that he does give a push in the back, and when a player is up in the air, even a little push can be dangerous. CJ gets one free throw and the Clippers do something head-scratching. Having had a long time out while the refs reviewed Chris Paul's foul, they call for horns, but then initiate with a high post entry pass to DeAndre Jordan. This simply allows the Blazers to foul him and put him on the line. Can you hear me shaking my head? To his credit, DeAndre does hit 1 of 2. Down by 3 and needing a stop with plenty of time left, the Clippers then do something completely inexplicable. Redick decides to go run at Lillard in the middle of the floor up top. There was no need whatsoever to do this, and all it did was force a rotation of Blake Griffin onto CJ. Watch the cascading butterfly effect. Because of the rotation, Redick is now on Plumlee. This forces Jordan to run over to cover for him, leaving Harkless wide open under the hoop. CJ can't see this, does a tough step back over Blake, but Harkless was never picked up by Redick and gets an easy tip slam to give them some breathing room. With almost a minute left, you don't need to go for a 3 here. They do run an okay set to have Redick screen before sprinting around a screen himself. That said, this kind of shot is the absolute toughest kind of 3 you can get, and while it almost goes in, I find it hard to believe this would be their first choice. And when it does miss and they foul, the game is pretty much over. Whether the Blazers will get another crazy performance out of their backcourt remains to be seen, but without question, being at home certainly helps. And if the Blazers can keep it close and make it a Stotts versus Doc game down the stretch, I'd be a little concerned if I were a Clippers fan.